Hey, we're back with Pop Politics.
That's right. Back in black.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know what that was. Okay, the first thing on our list is the opening of Cursed Child on Broadway, which I have paid 0% attention to.
Yes. So, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child is the most expensive Broadway play ever to be produced. It's like somewhere north of $60 million production value.
Oh, wow.
But from people I know that have gone and I've heard, like, they do a lot of cool, like, the magic is really cool. Like, how they do, like, the Polyjuice Potion and, like, the magic is really cool. So, it opened on Broadway. It is now playing. Whoopi Goldberg went to the opening and wore, like, a legit Hogwarts robe. It was awesome. So go look at that if you want. And J.K. Rowling was there, of course. It also won some Tony nominations, but we'll get to that in a minute. Also, in the Harry Potter universe, they released the Harry Potter mobile game, which is called Harry Potter Hogwarts Mystery. Basically what it is like you go through Hogwarts. You wait for a letter to come, and you, like, go to the school, and go to take classes and learn spells, and you can, like, wander around. So, I haven't personally gone on there, but it is out there.
Yeah, I don't have time for that yet.
Kind of in the vein of Pokemon Go, like, all these kind of, like, mobile games are starting to come out now, so.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing on our list is the Tony nominations.
So
Rita, that's you. Take it away.
Yeah, for some reason, I'm the one paying attention to an awards show, and Stu is not, which is new. So, the top nominations went to Mean Girls, the musical, and SpongeBob SquarePants, the musical. They got 24 nominations each, which just, like, what?
Yeah.
There are so many more serious musicals on Broadway right now, but they didn't get
The
them.
selection this year for the Tony nominations wasn't as strong as the years past.
Right. Well, okay, so the reason I'm paying attention is because my friend introduced me to a new musical called The Band's Visit, which I just really love. It's about this, like, Arab band that gets lost in Hebrew territory, and, like, this interaction between these. So it has this, like, Middle Eastern vibey feel, and it's just really beautiful music, and I just really love it. And so I've been listening. I literally couldn't listen to anything else for, like, 3 days straight.
Wow.
And so they got a couple of nominations. They got Best Musical, and then they also got their main actress, Katrina Lenk. She just has the most beautiful voice that I've heard in a really long time, and she was nominated for Best Leading Actress in a Musical and a couple others. So there's some good ones out there. They have the best ones that are revivals are, like, My Fair Lady and hold on, where did it go? I had it. My Fair Lady, I think Carousel. Yeah, Rodgers and Hammerstein's Carousel. Those are both getting nominations. So there's a bunch of things. We'll see how the Tony nomination pans out. It just, like, struck me as funny that SpongeBob SquarePants, the musical,
and Mean Girls,
the musical.
Yeah.
got the most nominations this year. So, yeah. Moving on from that, the next news is that Facebook had its, like, big thing, like, big reveal. This is where we're developing this year. And one of their big new things is they're developing into a dating app. So they have this, like, dating interface that you can opt into, and Zuckerberg's idea is that it's not going to be hookups, it's going to be developing long-term relationships, but I just think it's a bad idea and also a hilarious thing.
I mean, on the face of it, it kind of makes sense. Like,
the face of it.
I'm hilarious. Like, what better to match people together than Facebook? I mean, like, Facebook knows so much about you.
Yeah,
that
that's
it's
true.
like you tell it so much of things you like, and so, like, at face value, it's like, okay. I know, I'm hilarious.
There's so many puns there.
It seems like it'd be like, okay, yeah, maybe, like, I can see it matching up, like, people who have similar interests.
Yeah. And I'm glad
it's better than, like, Tinder, which is very, like, shallow and all about
shallow.
looks.
I think,
but
the good thing is that you can opt into it, and I am not going to opt into it. So.
Well, I saw a lot of people who were like, man, I'm glad I'm married. Don't have to worry about this stuff. It was kind of funny.
So there's that. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Twitter and Facebook also updated their terms and conditions and, like, privacy settings too, so that's an exciting thing.
But did any of us really read those? No.
No. I did read the thing that Twitter sent today that was like, by the way, we found this bot that compromised so many people's passwords, so you should change your password.
Nice.
So I did.
Huh.
Yeah, that was nice to see that they're being accountable for that kind of thing. Okay.
Next thing on our list. So, Ed Sheeran, yes, the Ed Sheeran announced recently that he is making a new album, but it is not going to be a pop album. And that's like all he said about it. And everyone was like,
what else?
Everyone was like, wait, what? Like, what's it gonna be? And he like didn't offer any details. So I'm like uber curious because I love Ed Sheeran, but if it's not like his pop album, then it's like,
then what is it?
Yeah, maybe it's like folk or jazz or indie.
I would bet it's his like Irish folk songs kind of thing.
Yeah,
because he's done that before.
Yeah, I guess that wouldn't be too off the radar for him. It's just like so random and like there's no. That's all he said is that it's not going to be a pop album.
Do you think then, so we were talking about this earlier, but do you think that he'll follow, he's been doing these like mathematically themed album titles?
He had plus, and then multiply, and then divide. So clearly the next one in the sequence would be subtract. But if it's not like in like a pop album, I don't know if he'll consider it like the same like sequence. You know what I mean?
Imagine the jokes, though, if it really bombs out when it's called Subtract.
Oh, that's another thing he said. He's like, I don't care if people don't like it. Like, I don't care if it doesn't sell. Like, I'm just going to make this record. And everyone's like, all right.
Alrighty,
you do you.
You're
like,
rich enough, you can do that.
When you're Ed Sheeran, you can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just like, I don't care what people think about this album.
Interesting.
It's like, okay. Cool.
All right.
Maybe it'll be even better just because he's not, like, worried about, you know, like, trying to impress or sell records or win Grammys or all that crap.
Yeah.
So, all right. Last weekend, shifting from music to movies here, Avengers Infinity War opened. And it became the biggest opening for a movie ever, taking the crown from Star Wars The Force Awakens. Another Disney property, so it just stays within Disney.
Yeah, it does.
But
Star Wars had this cute little like graphic that it was like handing the lightsaber over.
Oh, I didn't see that. That's
it was
cool.
cute. It was like Rey handing the lightsaber over, and I can't remember who was taking it, but it was somebody clearly from Marvel taking the lightsaber, the torch that. It was cute.
I should go look that
up.
So yeah, it was the biggest domestic opening and international opening. And Brigitte hasn't seen the movie yet, so we can't say anything.
I know. Well, sorry.
Everybody has thoughts about it, though, so I'm curious what you think about it, because it's, that's all I'll say. If you haven't seen it yet, stay off the internet, because there are so many spoilers out there.
So many. Like, the reason that I was not planning on going right away, but the reason I'm going is because I physically, like, if I am on any social media platform, I have to, like, scroll real fast if the minute I see Infinity, because who knows? Like, it is getting so hard to avoid the spoilers. So, there you go. Don't get on the internet. Moving on from pop, I think that's everything, right?
Yeah.
I think we covered everything. So, moving on from pop to politics, the big thing in the last 2 weeks was the meeting between North and South Korea, and, like, this was a huge thing. So, Moon Jae-in, who's the president of South Korea, and Kim Jong-un, who is the president and, like, dictator of North Korea, met at the demilitarized zone, and they shook hands, and then, for the first time ever, Kim Jong-un, a North Korean leader, stepped onto South Korean territory. And they had this huge diplomatic meeting, and they agreed to end the Korean War, which is never officially ended. And they haven't done it yet, though. That has been said that they will do that in the past. So, like, there's still some skeptics out there. We're not really sure that this will actually end in more than an armistice, because right now it's just kind of get truce, an armistice, ceasefire. And so we're not sure that'll actually happen, because they have said that they will do that before, and it hasn't happened, obviously, because we're still in the same position. And then North Korea confirmed that it was willing to denuclearize, but we don't know what denuclearize means still, because we never know until they tell us what their version of denuclearize means, because our version of denuclearize means that they get rid of all their nukes. So we'll see what happens there. This was supposed to be setting the groundwork for when the U.S. and North Korea and China meet, which Trump is saying will happen at the end of May, beginning of June period of time. Who knows if it'll actually happen? We actually have a Secretary of State now, so that may we'll get to that in a minute, but that may make a difference because they'll be able to do the background work that you would normally do leading up to a summit. But even then, this summit, like, what are we going to consider a win coming out of this summit? Because none of the normal steps leading up to this kind of summit have been taken, and so you don't know actually will happen. But as for now, like, this meeting between North and South Korea was really momentous, and there are some really fun pictures to be seen from it. There's this really great one where they're, like, almost embracing, and it's got this really cute, like, teal background, and it kind of looks like a prom picture, to be honest with you. It's my favorite thing, so, to come out of that visit. But that's the, like, big news.
Yeah, that was definitely the biggest international news. Piggybacking off of that, so Mike Pompeo was confirmed as Secretary of State. There was a little bit of interesting drama in his confirmation because Rand Paul had said that he was going to oppose him in committee, right?
Yeah, he almost got an unfavorable.
Yeah, so it was, and if all the Democrats voted against him, which it was looking like they would, and Rand Paul, he'd be like the first Secretary of State nominee to ever be voted out of committee unfavorably. So that was going to look really bad. But then finally, randomly out of nowhere, Rand Paul announces that he's changing his vote to a yes.
Right.
So he makes it out of committee like 11-10. Then it goes to the full Senate, and Mike Pompeo did win confirmation. I can't remember.
It was like 57-41 or something. No, it's not the right math, but it was something like
it was like 50-something to 40-something. But what was interesting is Pompeo, like, as soon as he was confirmed, he got on a plane and flew and already went on his first foreign trip.
Yeah.
So, like, he hit the ground running. So he went to NATO, to, like, a foreign ministers meeting in NATO. And then he also went to Saudi Arabia, Israel, and Jordan. So he went on this, like, whirlwind trip, like, literally hours after he was confirmed. So that was awesome. Also, it's been cool to see, like, Pompeo, the departure from Tillerson. Like, he took, like, a decent number of journalists on the trip. Like, there was a decent press pool.
He's already had his first interview.
He did an interview on a Sunday talk show already, which, like, Tillerson only did one that I can think of. And then Mike Pompeo also got a Twitter account, an official Secretary of State Twitter account. So I'm cautiously optimistic that he's, like, actually going to be what a Secretary of State should be.
Right.
Tillerson was not. Tillerson was very...
like you were saying, he'll probably go down in history as one of the worst Secretary of States ever.
I think he will.
The problem is, though...
Public diplomacy is such a big part of being Secretary of State, and diplomacy is, like, the public aspect. Like, you've got to be out there. Like, people have got to know who you are. You know, if you're the chief diplomat for the United States, like... You've got to be up front.
Yeah, people should know your name. I mean, in his defense, like, of course, he was destroying the State Department. Like, there's no doubt about it. He was actually not a very good Secretary of State. But, in his defense, he also had a really tough relationship with the President of the United States, who made it hard for him literally every turn. So
a good sign... we already know Pompeo and Trump have a good relationship, but... Trump went over to the State Department to do an official swearing in for Pompeo, and that was the first time that Trump had been to the State Department.
Oh, no.
He didn't even go.
Are you for real?
He did not go when Tillerson was there.
Foggy Bottom is not that far away.
No.
You can see the Washington Memorial from the top of one of the George. Like, so Foggy Bottom is like where the State Department is, and it's literally right in the middle also of the campus of George Washington University. So they're, like, really close adjacent, and I was in a building that you can see from the top of this building at George Washington University. You can see straight to the Washington Memorial, and it's not that far of a drive or a walk or a subway ride. Like
it's closer than the Pentagon is.
Yeah, it's way closer than the Pentagon.
So yeah,
the CIA. It is way closer than the CIA. Trump has been to the CIA.
Yeah, Langley's farther.
Yep.
So yeah, it said a lot that Trump never went while Tillerson was there, but now, like, on the first day that Pompeo's there. So as far as, like, it's good for the country that we have a strong confident Secretary of State, because we have lacked that for the past while.
We're going to make a bunch of decisions in the near future.
We need something like that. And they've confirmed a lot of ambassadors and undersecretary positions lately, so
that's good too.
Pompeo says that he, quote, wants to get the State Department its swagger back. Those were the literal words. He said the word
swagger?
He did.
Oh.
He did.
Oh. I don't know how
But if you think about it, that's true. That's what Tillerson took away from the State Department. Like,
you're right.
The morale was like rock bottom, and
even more rock bottom.
It was hollowed out. So signs are good for the Secretary of State so far.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Okay, moving on. Also in the last 2 weeks, Emmanuel Macron came. He's the president of France, and he came for the first state visit put on by the Trump White House. The first state visit in so it's been over a year now, and this is the first state visit. He and his wife Brigitte, which means that I have never seen my name more often in the American news. It was a little disconcerting every single time. Yeah, her name is spelled exactly like mine, just said differently. So they came and they did a ceremonial planting of a tree that the Macrons brought with them from, it was a battleground, I can't remember where.
Oh, yeah, some World War One.
Some World War One, yeah. And they visited and they did some things, and Macron gave a scathing speech. Like, we're all like buddy friends. Like, Emmanuel Macron has this way of charming Trump, and then he gave this speech at in Congress that was like denouncing Trumpism, so that was nice. But the thing that Emmanuel Macron was trying to do most ardently was convince Trump not to pull out of the JCPOA, which is the Iran deal, and which Trump has already decertified and is threatening to pull out of when the next certification date comes up, which is May 12th, and which his new national security advisor, John Bolton, and his Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, have both said in the past that they are on board with, and is actually the thing that keeps me up at nights. If he pulls out of that, I will have no reason to sleep. So that's a little bit... So we'll see, like, Macron, Merkel, and Theresa May, all of the three European powerhouses are all, like, strongly in favor of the JCPOA, as are all the other signatories. But if Trump pulls out, then Iran has said that they will continue to, resume their nuclear enrichment, because this is a sign of bad faith, and technically the United States will have broken the deal, not them, and so they'll be free to do whatever they want. And so that could make the world infinitely more scary. It's fine.
Also, Angela Merkel from Germany was also visited the White House this past week to convince Trump to stay in the Iran deal as well.
Yeah, hers wasn't a state visit, though.
No.
Speaking of
not state visits, the Trump administration finally finalized its plan to visit the UK. And like we mentioned, it is not a state visit, although a state visit invitation has been extended. So everyone,
it's supposed to be a working visit.
It's a working visit, which is a couple steps down from a state visit. So for all you people out there, a quick refresher, state visit versus not. A state visit has a lot more pomp and circumstances and is a lot more ceremonial and grand. So there's a huge state dinner. If you go to the UK, you ride in a gilded carriage with the Queen, and you dine at Buckingham Palace. A working visit is much less formal. There's not all the fancy foo-foo. So... They're talking about... So, brief history about the state visit. Theresa May, Prime Minister Theresa May, was the first foreign leader to visit Trump at the White House after his inauguration. And that was, in January of last year. So, she extended the invitation...
It was in January?
Of last year. January 2017. Right after his inauguration, she came to the White House.
Yeah, I forgot it was that
It was, less than a week after he was inaugurated, she came. Trying to curry favor.
Right.
And... she extended an invitation from the Queen for a state visit, and then it just never happened.
Well, and then they pushed it back because Trump said terrible things
then
about
he got
the London mayor.
Spat with London mayor, and then he retweeted the Britain First stuff. And then he was going to go and open the new U.S. Embassy in London, but then he scrapped plans for that for fear of protests, which, from what I've read, and it seems like there would be massive protests if Trump were to visit the UK at this time. So now, what I've read is that Trump is going to visit the Queen and the Prime Minister at their country estate. So he's going to visit the Queen at Windsor Castle and Prime Minister Theresa May at Chequers, which is the Prime Minister's country residence. So those are outside of London, out in the countryside where there's less people. So the thinking is to get away from the people and just kind of go out.
Yeah.
And it's also after a NATO meeting, so he's already going to be over in Europe. They're just tacking it on at the end. Yeah. So it's July 13th.
Speaking of Sadiq Khan, this London mayor, after they announced this visit, he tweeted some really welcoming, we'll show you what true. I don't remember what it was exactly, but it was this kind of dig, but also really hospitable and welcoming and whatever. To that slight deviation into pop that I just remembered. In the last 2 weeks, the new Prince was born.
Oh, yeah.
So Prince Louis, lots of other names, who is the third child of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. So,
yep. Prince finally born.
He was born. And Kate emerged from the hospital looking way too perfect for having given birth 7 hours previously. And he's cute, and they finally gave him a name. So there you go. That's your slight deviation into royal family stuff.
I love royal family, so I love that.
And then Princess Charlotte had her third birthday this week.
And she had a star moment, too.
Oh, yeah, and her...
When I took her to meet Louis, she waved.
She was really good.
She's
cute.
She's a royal for sure.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Okay, moving on. So, on, Monday... Netanyahu, who is the prime minister of Israel, gave this really kind of weird presentation, and it was detailing these thousands and thousands of documents they'd found, that Israeli intelligence had found, of the Iranian nuclear program. And basically his message was Iran lied, and they are conducting they're a lot further along in their abilities to create nuclear weapons and nuclear testing and stuff, and so Iran has already broken this deal, and it's just really convenient timing to find these documents that prove that Iran has lied, because Trump, like we just said, the European nations are trying to prevent Trump from pulling out of the JCPOA, and here is Netanyahu, who is one of Iran's biggest rivals, and that he's trying to convince Trump that Iran lied, and this is the only way that this comes out in a good way for Trump is if Trump can say, Iran broke the deal first. It wasn't us breaking the deal. Because otherwise it just looks really bad for the United States. And so this is Israel providing some cover. But it was just this really, kind of janky PowerPoint presentation with, one of the slides that my friend sent me literally just has Iran lied on a white background and in, Times New Roman in a, 700-point font. It's so funny. So.
Also, it was notable that Netanyahu's presentation was mostly in English, so people speculated that he was pretty much making overtures to Trump.
Yeah, he had an audience of one.
So, Netanyahu can speak English, but when he's in his native, when he's
giving
Israel,
a presentation in Israel,
he doesn't speak English.
Yeah, you would give that in Hebrew.
So it was notable. Okay, he's trying to.
He's definitely trying to sway someone. Yeah. So that's nice.
All right, what have we got next? Oh, so in the past 2 weeks, the whole nomination of White House Dr. Ronnie Jackson to be head of the VA came and went.
Oh, yeah.
So first, when Trump nominated Jackson, it was weird. Senators were questioning it already because he had, no management experience.
Right, he'd only been a White House doctor.
Mind you, the VA is the second largest bureaucracy in the government after the Defense Department, of course. Right. But there's, over 300,000 employees. It's this huge, sprawling, almost uncontrollable agency.
And that's the point, right? They've needed to bring it under control and reorganize and redo all the things for administrative.
So Ronnie Jackson had never really had much management experience, so that was already raising senators' eyebrows. And then all these accusations came out that he got drunk and wrecked a government car. Yeah. He was handing out pills without prescriptions.
And it was a whole bunch of independent former and current military not just officials, but they were coming forward to the committee and saying, look, these are all the things. The committee didn't even have to seek them out in discovery. And the thing about this is that the White House should have done its own vetting before nominating him. and it's obvious that didn't happen.
This episode proves that the White House vetting is that there is no vetting.
Yeah.
The White House vetting is Trump saying, I like this guy, let's pick him. And everyone's like, okay. So, like, there is no vetting. Like, if they had vetted him, they would have found this stuff. Yeah. Like, yeah, the White House was trying to spew out, like, praise from Obama and Bush, because he was also doctors to them. But, like, do a little vetting, would ya? Like...
Because obviously you're not going to find out these things about your doctor that he...
No, like, it just... Of course, you're not going to, like, ask your doctor about his background. And...
So, when was the last time you gave opioids out that weren't...
I know.
Prescription?
And it was interesting. In one of the press conferences Trump had, I can't remember, it was with a foreign leader, but basically Trump was like, I don't know why he does it. Like, if I were him, I'd like to be him. He should just quit. I don't know why he's doing this.
Yeah.
And everyone's like...
Dude, you nominated him.
Why are you... So then Ronny Jackson eventually withdrew his nomination, which, to the surprise of no one.
And he's also not gone back to his post as White House doctor.
Yeah, which is interesting. Mm-hmm. So now we still have an opening at the VA.
So that's nice.
So that
I love how, like, half of our...
we have VA and CIA...
Who are currently being run by...
Are those the only open cabinet posts?
I think so. Yeah, but at least we have a nomination for Haspel. Yeah. Yeah, it just, like...
She's going to the committee next week.
Yeah, it's just disconcerting to me how often we have had cabinet organizations being run by somebody who hasn't been, like, vetted and nominated. Like, they're acting directors and they're not actual directors, because that means that you're in a holding pattern and you're not actually getting things done usually. So, whatever. Because, like, when it was acting Secretary of State, they couldn't, like, nominate ambassadors and hire undersecretaries and stuff like that. So, that's just disconcerting to me.
Okay, on to probably the biggest political news of the past 2 weeks. Domestically, yes, you're right. So, newly added Trump counsel Rudy Giuliani was on Sean Hannity last night, and he said a lot of things. The biggest revelation was that Donald Trump personally reimbursed Michael Cohen that $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels, the hush money.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, what?
Because Trump in the past...
Trump, 2 reporters flatly denied knowing about the payment. He said no. And Sarah Sanders has repeatedly, like, day after day, said, no, the president didn't know about this. No, no, no. Everybody in the administration has a drumbeat. No, 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 no. Ask Michael Cohen. No, 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 no. So the fact that Rudy Giuliani, which... Time out. Why is he revealing this stuff?
I don't know. He's supposed to be protecting the president. He's supposed to be
protecting the president. This is, like, totally not in the president's best interest at all.
No, it's
This is totally throwing him under the bus and proving that he and the administration has basically been lying this whole time about this. Now, there are some caveats that Trump apparently, like, paid Cohen, like, monthly, and he didn't specifically know that it was for this, but he, like, was just reimbursing him for a lot of stuff. But you're like, how do you not know about your money?
Yeah.
Like, how do you maybe he's just rich and just can throw money out like that? I don't know, but it does.
You should know.
It does not bode well for the president and the administration with this whole Stormy Daniels thing that they didn't know about it. When now it's come out that he reimbursed Cohen for the payment, which we all knew was true anyways. Like, Michael Cohen didn't just write a check of his own personal money of $130,000.
And there are other, like, implications
when you're a client of somebody, you don't just, like, we all knew that it was connected to Trump somehow, and now we've gotten, like, the official thing. So
there are other implications, though. So if this could be construed as a campaign donation, it exceeds the minimum, like, the maximum personal donation that can be.
Yeah, but questions have been raised.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of things. Like, the thought that I keep having is, like, we're gonna catch on Trump in this Russian thing. Like, they're gonna indict him for something that has nothing to do with Russia, and then all of the Russia stuff will come adding on to it. But it'll be something like this election fraud. Where not election fraud, but election
campaign finance
stuff, and that's what it'll end up being. And so it's just interesting that, you know, his lawyer is the one that is giving us this information, because this didn't come from like a Washington Post Times drop. It came from the lawyer.
Okay, yeah, let me say this. So Rudy Giuliani is like the personal lawyer for Donald Trump. Like, he's part of his personal outside counsel. So he's not the White House counsel. He is Donald Trump's counsel. So like his job is to protect and defend Donald Trump, not the president. Donald Trump personally in legal matters such as this. So why is he trotting out onto Fox News, which of course he would be on Fox News, but why is he trotting out on cable news and releasing this bombshell that everyone is like, what? Like, this does not bode well for the administration, does not bode well for the president. It totally undermines their legal strategy.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting. This really puts a spotlight on Sarah Sanders, because she has repeatedly denied and said, no, President, no. She said in the press briefing today that she learned about it last night, like, as it was airing. She didn't know about this until last night. So, and then in the briefing, she referred all questions to this to outside counsel, which, who's that?
This is
Rudy Giuliani is the outside counsel.
This is an administration
So it's like this weird loop, because, so basically she just confirmed that they all lied without saying it, because by referring all questions to outside counsel, which is Rudy Giuliani, well, the only thing we have from Rudy Giuliani is the Fox News interview, which he said that he knew the payments and reimbursed him. So
yeah,
that's been confirmed.
No, yep.
So I think it proves that Trump and the administration, I'm going to say it, they misled everybody.
Oh yeah, no, this is an administration of lies. You can say they lied.
Can I?
They lied.
I say that? Okay.
They've been lying since day one. Like, I think it's fair to say that they lied. And at this point,
and like I don't use that lightly.
No.
Like, it's, you know, it's to accuse like the president and the administration of lying is like a big deal. So like, I don't do it lightly, but
this
it's
is
clear that they misled people, and so you know, the logic goes, well, if he's willing to mislead people about this, like what else is
he lying about?
What else is he lying about? Because Trump is so flippant and so brash and just so shoot from the hip.
Yeah.
So
and
what
people
else
are like, he's telling the truth. No, he's
what else has he brushed off, and what else has he lied about?
Yeah, and what else is he not taking seriously? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff about this information that makes me about this administration that makes me uncomfortable. But that's one of them. Is that like they can so blatantly lie and pass it off like it's nothing. Because you would hope that would be an agony of conscience when you have to lie to the American people. And I know it's not true all the time, because all presidents lie and all presidents have to keep things.
All press secretaries spin.
Yeah, but this is the next level. This is like lying about things that no president should ever lie about, right? There are national security things that I'm totally fine with presidents masking from us, because I know that if I were to know the truth about those things, I would not be able to sleep at night, for sure. And I already can't sleep at night for some other reasons, you know? So, like, that I'm fine with. That I admit to needing that to happen. But, like, lying about your paying off your mistress, like, and other things.
The last thing I want to say about this is, aside from the president who denies everything about the affair, he denies everything. Nobody is, like, questioning it. Everyone's like, oh, yeah. Like, nobody is shocked or surprised that someone is claiming they had an affair with Donald Trump. Like, nobody is shocked.
Surprised.
Everyone's like, yeah, he probably did it. Like, sounds like his character. Like, even,
sounds
like,
legit. People
close to him, or, like, Republicans aren't, like, sounding the alarm or being like, you liars, like, this isn't true. Like, nobody is surprised that the president had an affair. Like, that does not surprise anybody.
He's gone through 3 wives. I mean, that's not, like, definitive of why you would have an affair, but, like, says something.
Yeah, so I just, it makes me laugh that nobody is, like, outraged that this is out there in the ether, because everyone, it's just kind of accepted, like, yeah, well. Okay, last politics thing. So Trump was at the White House at a ceremony honoring the Teacher of the Year. And this teacher is a teacher in Washington State who works with refugees and immigrants.
Uh-huh.
And she was wearing, like, a bunch of pins. I can't remember, but they were a lot of, like, what were they? she was wearing a lot of pins that were, I can't remember, I'll go look it up, but they were like overt messages to Donald Trump, political messages. And she handed Trump letters from her refugee students.
Ah, yes, my hero.
And asked him to read them and to come visit her school. And was, like, advocating and telling that, like, refugees and immigrants aren't that bad.
My hero.
Like, she handed him letters saying, like, excellent. Read these. These are from my students, and you'll realize that they're not that bad.
Yeah.
Isn't that awesome? It's just, like, a little, like, you go, girl.
Yeah,
like,
definitely. Oh, speaking of which, the Supreme Court, was it the Supreme Court? Somebody ruled, well, a court ruled recently that the Dream, like, they have to keep the Dreamer program open for renewals and stuff like that. So that's where that stands currently. And I think it's in the Supreme Court right now. Is that the one that's in the... No, the travel ban's in the Supreme Court right now. That's what's in the Supreme Court right now. Anyway. Alright. Soapbox. I'm in the middle of my last season of finals as an undergraduate. And,
Last season.
I don't know.
You make it sound like it's a TV show. Like,
the
final season.
The final season. No, I'm in my last finals week, and I have finished all but one. I'm just currently editing it. And the thing that bothers me most about finals is when professors, like, they have this huge final project, and it, like, is like, do some primary research, and do this, and make your own opinions, and, like... Then the assignment is worth 20 points. And I'm like, awful. Excuse you, what? I just spent how many hours on this, and you're going to make it worth 20 points? And, like, I understand, like, weighting your like, point system and stuff like that, but, like, when your other assignments are also worth 20 points, there's something wrong here. Like, that's my soapbox. Like, give me, like, points for what it's worth. Like... Then it is not worth 20 points. So the final
is worth as much as just a regular assignment?
It's maybe worth like 5 to 10 points more. And that just doesn't seem... Like, the weight of those just doesn't equal for me. I don't get that.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
So, I don't know. It just makes me feel like... Well, and it... Unfortunately, it justifies my, like, get it one and done where I don't close edit. So, like... It's fine. I am editing at least one of my finals, and that's all I can say for myself at this point. It's funny how hard senioritis has hit me this semester. I didn't expect it, especially since I'm going on for a master's degree, but it has hit me hard. So I am ready to be done and walk across that stage on Saturday, but here we are for the meantime. And I think that's it for this week. We will catch you on the flip side. Whatever that flip side is.